All right, hey, what's up guys? Derek here, and there's a problem that I'm seeing that I wanted to address in this video. And this problem is with small businesses that are newer to SAM, not finding bids that are a match for your business. So you're coming on SAM and you're not finding things that you would be interested in bidding on, and then you're getting stuck there for a really long time. So that's something I'm seeing a lot of, even with some of the businesses that I work with. I see this fairly often. So I thought I would just do a video giving you a short process. The goal is to make this video fairly short, just to show you a really quick process that you can use to what I call verify or validate a proof of concept. So we cannot make an assumption that what your business does or what you want to do is going to be on Sam.gov in many contracts at all time of the year. We cannot make this assumption. It's dangerous. It's dangerous to assume that you have a viable business model without testing it. So this process I want to show you is essentially just how to test this. And then if you are finding that what you want to offer or originally you had in mind, your niche, right, it's not being validated, then really the only two things that you could do to move forward and get past that. So I'll also include that in the short training today. So you can see my screen. We're over on SAM. We're just going to bounce and do a real live example, and I am just going to use janitorial because it's something that everybody can kind of conceptually understand. So you can see here, first thing I want to target is keywords, and I don't want you to say, oh, I already know this. Okay, you probably don't already know this, so just stay with me here. So with keywords, you do have the option to do any words, all words, or exact phrase, okay? Just know that one of these, some of these options are gonna be more restrictive, some of them are gonna be more open. I'm just gonna leave it with all words, since the one word I'm going to use anyways is just gonna be janitorial, and I'm gonna search this. So what I've done is I've made an assumption about a possible keyword, and this is what I want you to do for whatever field you're in. Think of the most common phrase, or hey, this should pull up if I search by blank, right? And I want you to come up with a short list of those. And when you plug those in, just kind of quickly go through these search results. We don't care anything about the set aside, the notice ID, the due date. We don't care about any of that right now. We're just trying to say, hey, is the government buying this on SAM? And does it seem like they're buying it in enough quantity that I could build a viable business model around it? That's all we're after right now, because that's what a lot of you guys are struggling with. You're not finding the bids. Well, it's because either you're not searching properly, or maybe the bids are not there. Okay, and then what do you do about that? So that's the real truth we're getting into in this video. So we're testing the keyword janitorial, and then we're just gonna look at some of these titles. Okay, Hebgen Lake Ranger District Janitorial. That looks good. Ashland Ranger District Janitorial. That looks solid. Janitorial services for the Rocky Mountain region. Okay, it looks good. Municipal services for the 63rd U.S. Army. Maybe not. We could always open it up and look at it. Okay, so just in this top 3, top 4, we have some that look like they would be a match, and maybe 1 or 2 that may not be a match. So for this keyword, janitorial, it actually looks like a pretty solid keyword. So you want to write that down and create a short list. Go through this process with 3, 4, 5, I don't care, 10 keywords until you have at least a few solid ones, okay? So once you have a few solid keywords, the next thing I want you to do is pull open some of these solicitations that would be in your wheelhouse if you decided to go after them. So I want you to open it up, and then I want you to scroll down to this classification section within the Sam.gov listing page here, and then I want you to look and see what is the product and service code and the NAICS code that the government is assigning this. So if you're newer and you don't have your codes yet, this is another thing that's going to help you to find bids that are a match for your business if they are on SAM. So if you don't have any PSC codes or NAICS codes, now you do. The government's literally hand giving those to you, because we're doing this reverse engineering breadcrumb trail process to find these. So for this PSC code, it is S201. And then for the NAICS code, it's 561720. So now based off of this keyword, now you have additional things to search by. And you want to be writing these down. So you want to have a column for keywords that work, then a column for NAICS codes that work, and a column for PSC codes that work. So I'll just go ahead and copy this NAICS code, for example, X out our keyword, and then go ahead and come down to product and service information and plug in our NAICS code. And that's going to manually type it. That's going to bring up, possibly different search results. So now we're starting to make progress. We're starting to crawl. We're starting to get somewhere. And you can see these are different, these are different bids. So we can look at these and see how close these are for a match and continue to rinse and repeat with these 3 different variables now. But we started with keyword because even if you don't know what NAICS code or PSC code to use, you can use obvious keywords to at least get close, to at least start throwing spaghetti at the wall, and then open those up like we did to find what those codes are, and then come do new searches based on that information. I hope this is making sense to you. It's really not supposed to be that complicated. It's pretty straightforward, and it's highly effective because you're working backwards from the language that the government is using and the codes that the government is using. Because that's the other thing. You can open these up and see, well, what other keywords that I didn't think of that they're using, right? Even in the titles. Oh, I didn't think of that. That's a good one. Let me test that one and write that down. So this is the simple and easy process that you can do to validate a proof of concept for your business. Now, if you do this and you're finding stuff and you had a breakthrough, that's awesome. But what if you go through this, you have NAICS codes, PSC codes, keywords, and there's just not a lot of it there. There's really only 2 things that you could do. The first thing you can do is to continue to dial in this system and consider what time of year it is for you. So take a little bit of personal inventory because the government is seasonal. So they do operate on a fiscal year, not a calendar year. So they do have budgets that they need to spend, things like this. So you could just be at the wrong time of year for your NAICS code. So one way to test this is just to hop over to USA Spending. And I'm only going to spend 2 seconds doing this. Go to Advanced Search and then plug in that same info that we just got. For this case, we'll just use the NAICS code and we'll do 561720. Let's see, am I putting it in the wrong spot here? Yeah, I was plugging it in the wrong spot. 561720. And then we'll plug that in and submit our search. And what you can do is we've got table, time, map, and categories. We want to pop over to time. And when this pulls up, it's going to default to the years. So you could see, the life blood of this NAICS code over years. It looks like it's still in really great shape, but then I want you to bounce over to quarters, and then you can see the rigidity of the spending throughout the year. So do you just happen to be at one of these times during the year where there's not a lot of spending? This could give you the answer as to why, I'm in the first or second quarter, and this is why we're not seeing a lot of spending. But looking at this particular NAICS code, take a look. We're seeing a spike in Q1. That's not typically what you're taught. So different industries and different codes and different services, they will vary throughout the year. Like for some reason, we are seeing a lot of spikes during Q1, which happens to be in October for janitorial. So maybe there's buying for the year ahead, right? This is going to be different for every single search. So this is why this is the first of 2 options that you could come to validate if you are coming up with, hey, I'm still not finding a lot. Then the second thing that you can do is if you are not finding a lot is what I call employ an umbrella strategy. And maybe you've heard me talk about this in other videos. We're not getting into it in depth today. But what can happen is if the bids are just not there, they're not there. And we do not have the magic wand to wave to come over and just put contracts on Sam, okay? So we cannot make that dangerous assumption to say they just got to be here and they got to be here in, a plentitude and, they have to be there year round in terms of contracts to bid on. No, they don't. Okay, we can't just make the assumption. Yes, it's the federal government. Yes, they spend a lot of money, right? But you may be in a niche that is so specific or just a particular good or service that the government's not buying a lot of all of the time where it's not a viable business model for you. If it's not here and you're at, the busy time of the year or whatever, and it's still not here, then we can't just make it be there. So the only other thing you can do is to consider other like, kind, and complementary goods and services to your original offer. Essentially, if it's not there, go after other things that are similar that are there. If you don't want to do that, if you're going to be, say, this is all I do, then maybe this isn't for you. And that is the honest truth that I sometimes have to say to small business owners, like, hey, if you want to be a contractor, these listings here on Sam, these are problems that the government needs solved. So if you are not showing up to solve problems which means considering other things. If the thing that you're looking for is not there, then just stick to, the commercial world, because there may not be a place for you here. But if you are willing to do that, then you may find other codes, other keywords that you can go through the same exact process with and test to say, hey, the government's not buying a lot of exactly this, but I would be willing to be a contractor for these other, goods and services. And that's what it means to open up your umbrella, because now you have a number of different things that you have essentially an umbrella that ties them together, that puts a label on those. Like I said, I'm not going into it a lot today. I do have another video for that, but a way of grouping, maybe 2, 3, 4, or 5 like kind services if the one service that you're originally searching for wasn't there. At least this way you will have more of a viable business model. You will have pillars to go after instead of just, one thing, and if it's not there, then you're kind of, out of luck, right? I don't want that for you. So if this makes sense and you have not yet, I just created a brand new federal contracting masterclass for FY22. I know it's a little bit late in the year, but I literally just pushed it out a week ago. There is a lot of value in this, and I boil it down to like 55 minutes only, so it's not hours and hours of content, course after course after course. It's just one 55-minute video. And why this is so valuable to you is because it is basically everything that I've learned from working with clients over the last 5 years, where they get stuck. So this is the most common problems that I know you're going to run into if you're newer. And I tell you literally what you can do to keep moving forward to solve that problem. Things like past performance or doing the legal middleman strategy, things like this that I know you're going to struggle with. I show you exactly what you need to do, and I'm super proud of being able to so easily give you some of the answers to some of the most common problems that will keep you stuck for months and years, and you can get it all banged out, in a year. Even the new SAM system, right? I include information in there as well. What is everybody getting hung up on? Okay, so you definitely want to make sure you check that out. That's the first part, and the second part of that same training is how to actually build your business in the federal space. I give you 4 things to do you can start doing today. And this video is just a little bit of a sampling, a little bit of a test of some of the things that we do go into in that. So if you have not yet, or say you even enrolled but you didn't take it seriously because it's free and you're like, hey, how good could it really be? And you skipped around, go back through it, because this is something that, I arguably could be choosing money for, but I'm making the decision to give it to you guys for free because it's brand new updated content. Nothing's recycled. It's just, fresh, and it's something that I feel really good about. And I just want to get that in the hands of as many people as possible. So share it, share if you got, other colleagues that are in, small business, will want to come into federal contracting. This would be the perfect thing to even send to them because, again, there's no barrier to entry. It's totally free. And it will really help them out in terms of what to expect and overcoming some of those initial challenges. So if you want that, if you didn't figure it out already, the link for that is in the description of this video down below. You should see that. And I think that's about it for this, guys. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. If you got questions, you like this video, let me know. And anything else, just drop that below in the comments of this. I will be checking for those as well. So hope this was super helpful, guys. I will see you guys in the next video, and take care.